Less than 2 years after launching his show with massive fanfare, Piers Morgan is leaving Talk TV.
Some news about me and this show. I think it's good news. This is going to be our final regular broadcast here on television. But Piers Morgan Uncensored is only going to get bigger. The truth is that many millions of you are watching us on YouTube every day and across our other digital platforms. So much so that cutting short our big interviews and debates to squeeze them into a single hour with commercials no longer makes any real sense.
As you can see there, or as you saw there, Piers Morgan is trying to make this seem like a positive choice. This is good news. He gave more details in an interview with Semaphore. So he said, I've just decided that I no longer want to create my show for linear television. I just want to go full digital globally. There's something quite anachronistic about a show like mine still trying to create old-fashioned TV for a pre-scheduled time slot each night for a relatively small audience when we're getting such gigantic audiences digitally. So he's saying, well, we're not doing the linear TV because it's going so well online, and linear TV is too restrictive. So we're going to sort of liberate ourselves and go over to YouTube fully. Guido Fawkes has a different read on the move. They suggest that Piers Morgan has been sacked by Talk TV owner Rupert Murdoch. They say the host's spin doesn't add up. In the article, they say they have it on good authority that Rupert Murdoch personally made the decision to let Morgan go. And they write this: Talk TV is being pared back. The single biggest budget line item was Piers, and he wasn't delivering an audience to match his ego. The dream of a global Piers show broadcast in London, going out in Australia and the US simply didn't work. Fox News didn't want to touch Piers. Australian viewers didn't care for the frequent British Z-list guests. The big-name interviews that would pull audiences in all those markets were too few and far between. The show was at first downsized, and after 2 years of mostly losing to Nigel Farage on GB News, dropped. Aaron, two different representations of Piers Morgan going from Talk TV over to YouTube. Which version do you believe?
You could make it work as a YouTube show, and it could be very successful. It's true to say he's had a massive impact. He has big guests on: Cristiano Ronaldo, Andrew Tate. They've had massive numbers. I think a couple of million subscribers he's managed to build up. So it could become a major YouTube channel. The point is, and this is what's alluded to in that Guido Fawkes piece, is that Piers Morgan, legacy media, he's very accustomed to huge budgets. He had a massive contract, by the way, when he went over to the Murdoch Corporations in 2022, because of course he also has a simultaneous column in the Sun newspaper. He has a massive contract there, which by the way ends in 2025. And I think they probably said, we're just not going to renew it, mate. He likes the big budgets. He likes the big paydays. He needs resources. It's very much a legacy media, Walter Cronkite style TV operation. Could it work as something much more lightweight? Of course it could. Look at Tucker Carlson, this whole Tucker Carlson network, TCN, doing an interview with Putin. Did an interview with, quite recently, he's done lots of major interviews with really, really big political figures. He wants to do one with Zelensky too. Morgan could do something like that, freewheeling around the world, talking to these sort of big figures, but it has to be very lightweight. He'd earn less money, and it wouldn't be in a cozy London studio. And I think given his legacy media background, he worked for The Sun, he was editor of The Mirror, he went to work at a US network. He probably doesn't want to do that. He probably thinks that's quite, he worked at ITV, GMB. But I could be wrong. He might be willing to take a major pay cut, have to work twice as hard, and not have the same kind of allure and status he's had his entire professional career. I doubt it. So it's possible. What he's saying is possible. The question is, of course, whether he signed up to do that. And finally, what he's talking about, like a YouTube channel, would have made so much more sense for Rupert Murdoch. I don't know why he didn't do that. Just start a news brand around Piers Morgan. We'll have a YouTube channel. You'll do some things to camera. We'll have a podcast. Lots of social heavy stuff. You're not going to be earning the kind of money we're going to offer you like they did in 2022, but it'll be a really big thing. Your profile will be huge, and let's renegotiate things in a couple of years' time. He could have done that. He could have done that. They've chosen not to. I think it really underscores actually how much Rupert Murdoch has lost touch with the reality of the media industry. They're cutting loose Piers Morgan, and Talk TV is going to be what, Mike Graham and James Whale? Really? It's almost humiliating how badly that operation has failed compared to GB News. GB News looks professional. I know there's lots of gaffes, lots of screw-ups. Lawrence Fox saying the most stupid things on air, but it physically looks very professional. Whereas we did a story a few days ago about James Well and a former trade union leader, and the whole thing was just a disaster. People who are watching this can check that out on our YouTube channel. We did that story, I think, last Tuesday. It looks very different, and it's clearly failing. And I think Morgan and Murdoch parting ways like this is also an admission of failure, not necessarily for Morgan, but actually more for Murdoch and Talk TV. Talk TV is the failure here. They can't afford what they're giving Morgan, given the fact they aren't getting this big linear TV audience. But I also don't think that on YouTube he's going to be the full 9 yards. I don't think he'll go all in Tucker Carlson style. I could be wrong, of course.